Hi, it's Mark from Top Local Lead Generation. We're here with Bernie Pollock. Pollock Automotive in Vancouver, Vancouver's best auto service experience, as voted by their customers. 16-time winners of best auto repair in Vancouver. How are you doing today, Bernie?
Doing really well, Mark.
So we're going to talk about reliance on your dash lights. Should you trust your dash lights?
Yes, that's what we're going to talk about. And this was inspired by a 2003 Toyota Matrix that just came in for a maintenance service yesterday. Regular customer, very good customer, intelligent person, and I'll get onto that in a minute. But they came in, regular service. I asked them, as I usually do, do you have any concerns? Yes, I have two. There's a couple of noises. One of them with the engine happens under a certain circumstance. So I wrote down the notes, wrote up a work order, passed it to Matt, our technician. He started the engine, drove it around the block, and came back a little concerned because the engine was making a lot of rattling noises, and the low oil warning light on the dash was flickering on and off.
So what did you find was the cause of all that noise?
Well, the engine was extremely low on oil, and the owner, I talked to the owner afterwards. I said, "Was your oil was very low? That's what was causing one of your noises." And he said, "Oh, really? Wow!" Because the light never came on. I said, "Well, it did for us, so maybe it did just reach that critical level." But I'm going to share a photo here with you, and this is
You can see it.
this is the oil that we drained out of the engine. That is a 4-liter bucket. And this engine has a 4-liter oil capacity, and that's how much oil we got out of it, which is about, it looks like I'd say less than half a liter. So these engines are designed to run on a certain amount of oil. Usually you can go a liter low and you're still safe, so you could have that bucket 3/4 full and still be running a safe engine, but that low is really, really bad. So let's get off the screen share here. Get back to our discussion.
So what do you think? How could the engine be so low on oil and the owner not know it?
Well, a couple things. So first of all, engines burn oil. It's just something that happens. Now, sometimes an engine will burn so little oil that you could drive 20,000 kilometers and you never have to add a drop. But that's usually the exception. It's normal to burn oil. Even a liter every 1,000 kilometers is not. It's not usual, but it's not abnormal, and it's still within specification on any engine. So how the owner would not know it? Basically, the only way you don't know it is by not checking the oil yourself. That's really the only thing you got to do. I mean, I recommend to people every second time you go to fill up your tank, pull a dipstick, check your oil. That's the best thing to do. And I have to admit, I'm guilty of not doing it myself sometimes, but it is critical to check that because the engines burn oil, they leak it, and usually you can see leaks in the ground. But if you don't see drips, the engine's burning oil.
So are there warning lights on the dash for low oil?
Well, yes and no. And this is where you really have to know the car that you're working on. Sorry, the car that you own. You need to know, does your car have a low oil warning light? Some do, some don't. I'd say probably 30% of cars on the road have a low oil level warning light, and the other 70% do not have that light. So you need to know that. I have an older Suburban, like 2001 Suburban. It has a low oil warning light. So if the oil gets about a liter low, a light comes on in the dash that says you need to add oil, which is awesome. And I trust that. A lot of European cars don't even have dipsticks, like fancier European cars, BMWs, there isn't even a dipstick. So you have to rely on that light. It'll come on and it'll tell you. But you need to know whether your car has this light or not. I asked the owner, I said, hey, by the way, you're really low on oil. He goes, well, the oil light never came on. Well, people have an assumption that all cars have a low oil warning light, but they don't. They have this light, and I'm going to share another photo with you here. Just play around with the equipment here. Okay. So this light here this is a dash view of a Subaru dash, and that is the oil light that you'll find on a generally like older Subarus, and possibly even brand new ones. I don't know, but that is very typical of many cars. Almost most cars have that light. It looks like an oil can with a little drip on it. That light is the oil pressure warning light, and that is usually the only oil warning light that you will find on most cars. And what it is there for, is to tell you that the engine oil pressure is too low, and it's really meant to indicate that there's a catastrophic oil failure problem in the engine, not that your engine's low on oil. If that light comes on, it's basically coming on. It's coming on too late. The only time you really want to see that light come on is when you turn the key to the on position. All the dash lights come on. That oil light should come on, telling you that the light actually works and the system works. But as soon as you start the engine, that light should go off within a second. If it stays on or if it flickers on, you need to bring the car in for service immediately. But the first thing to do is check your engine oil. So without rambling on too much, basically get to know what kind of car you have. Does it have a low oil warning light, or does it only have the oil warning light? By the way, every car has this oil warning light in some way, shape, or form.
So is keeping the oil full even more important on the higher tech engines we have today with variable valve timing and multiple cams and multiple valves, etc.?
Absolutely, it is absolutely critical, and it's scary when I think of the technology in a modern engine is so reliant on having full oil. And quite often we've had cars that come in with the check engine light on and scanned and done some diagnosis and found the actual cause of that light coming on was actually low engine oil, because the variable valve timing system relies on a proper flow of oil to operate the actuators for the variable valve timing system. So it's a good bit of an early warning, but again, you don't want the stuff to happen. It's just so much more expensive. It used to be an engine that pistons, a camshaft, rocker arms, an old-fashioned V8, for instance, a lot less moving parts than a modern engine. Even this Toyota Matrix, which is not a really high-tech car, it has a timing chain, overhead cams. It's complex, and even the cheapest car you buy is incredibly, it's like a Ferrari of 30 years ago for complexity. So you really, really want to make sure your oil is full. More important now than ever.
So check your oil every second fill up, or go call these guys. They'll look after you. 604-327-7112, Pollock Automotive in Vancouver, or check out their website, packed with information, pollockautomotive.com. Thanks, Bernie.
Thank you, Mark.